Chapter 26 3 Days Until Christmas. "So I hear I have your helping hands this afternoon," Miss Marwich said as Max walked into the library during his one free period of the day. "Yeah," Max said glumly. Last week Max had gotten caught with a small can of shaving cream in the computer lab, and now he was stuck with a makeup detention. He swore to himself that it would be his last. "Well, I'm thrilled to have the assistance," Miss Marwich said, as though Max had chosen to come. Still, she looked like she meant it, which lifted his spirits a bit. "What do you need me to do?" he asked. "Let's get you started with shelving," Miss Marwich said, walking him over to a big cart of books. "I've had so many returns lately that I've fallen behind. It'll be great to get these back where they belong. You remember the system?" Max nodded. This was not his first attention in the library. "I'm on it," he said. Max wheeled the cart to the nonfiction section of the library and picked up the first book. The Mysteries of the Digestive System Revealed. Who checked out a book like that? Maybe it was for a science paper. Still, when Max flipped through the book and saw a diagram of the digestive system, with its slimy coils of intestines, he was thoroughly grossed out. Some things were definitely better left mysteries. The library was quiet. The only sound was the clicking of Miss Marwich's fingers on her computer keyboard and the occasional clank from the radiator. The smell of lemon cleanser and books was somehow soothing, especially given the cozy warmth of the room, and soon Max was lulled into a routine, barely even noticing the names on the books as he checked numbers and shelved. Until he came to a familiar title, Create the Dress, Create Yourself. That had been the title of the book on the dress patterns Olivia Potter had gotten from her angel tree wish. It was just strange enough that it had stuck in Max's mind. Max checked the number on the spine and put the book in the crafts section, all the while thinking about what this might mean. Possibly nothing, but possibly. Max knelt in front of the cart of books, scanning the titles. On the second row he saw one that set off bells. Pastries and cakes from around the world. He pulled it off and turned to the table of contents. Sure enough, there was a section on Russian pastries, exactly what Lana Livkov had wished for at the angel tree. Max was fired up as he started shelving books again, his mind only partially on the task in front of him. He didn't want to jump to conclusions, a problem that had brought down many a spy in some of his favorite movies, but the evidence seemed convincing. Whoever had fulfilled these wishes, and possibly others he didn't know about, had done so using the school library. Max began looking at titles as he shelved, thinking about how others, like home makeovers or computer programming made easy, might have been used to make a wish come true. He hoped the gross digestion book and another he picked up about hang gliding weren't involved in wishes, but others definitely had the potential to be. Which Max decided could mean one of two things. A lot of people just happened to use the school library when they plucked wishes from the angel tree, or GB used the school library as one of her resources for coordinating all the wishes from the tree. It seemed unlikely that a whole slew of people stopped by the school library for help with wishes. Most of the people who took the white scraps of paper were adults who were far more likely to use the public library right in the town square. Which left the other possibility. GB was using the school library, and the only reason she would do that, Max reasoned, would be if she had some kind of connection to the school. "How's it going?" Max jumped. "I didn't mean to scare you," the librarian said. "You certainly are focused." "Yeah. I just want to be sure to get everything in the right place," Max said, embarrassed by his reaction. "I'm sure you're doing just fine," Miss Marwich said, patting him on the shoulder. "You're nearly done, and I can finish up these last few. You've given me the help I needed to be able to go home a bit early for my book club." "You do more reading outside this?" Max asked, gesturing at the room filled with books. Miss Marwich laughed. "I actually don't get to read during the day, though you'd think I would. I'm too busy helping other people pick out books. So I'm in a classics book club to read the great authors, and then I'm also in a mystery reading club. That's the one meeting today." "Sounds fun," Max said, though honestly he couldn't imagine wanting to spend all that time reading and talking about books. Miss March was smiling as though she could read his mind, which she probably could. I enjoy it, she said. It occurred to Max that she might know who had borrowed some of the books he'd been shelving. I was wondering, actually, he said, if you know who took out some of the books I shelved. Like there was one called Create the Dress, Create Yourself, and another about pastries. Miss March seemed surprised at the question. She looked at Max intently. Is there a reason you're asking? Max felt squirmy under her gaze. No, I was just curious, he said. Okay, she said, her eyes still on Max's face. But I'm sorry, I don't like to give out information like that. The librarian-reader relationship is confidential, at least in my book. No problem, Max said. Miss March smiled at him, the intensity gone. Or maybe Max had just imagined it in the first place. Go ahead and take the last few minutes to relax. Thanks, Max said. He headed out of the library, his mind on the meeting he would be having with Cammy, Joe, and Lucy that afternoon and how this latest clue might help them.